All right, we're back with another chapter of White Stallions of Lipizza. We'll be reading chapter 16, Borina's Cue. Remember, Borina's going to be in a
horse.
In an opera. He is a horse. He's going to be in an opera, which is like a play with lots of singing and music. When Hans and Borina started out on their operatic career, it was as natural as two streams flowing together on their way to the sea. They formed an immediate partnership. Borina, of course, was senior partner, for he was much the older, but they both acted like a pair of boys off on a holiday, and indeed they were. Hans was graduated and out of school, and Borina was excused from morning sessions for the time being, so the world was all fresh and new for both of them. Proudly, that first morning, Hans led his snow-white charge down the Josefplatz, past the library, and to the opera house. He felt they were in a world apart from ordinary citizens going about their ordinary duties. He wouldn't have been surprised in the least if someone saw a golden halo above them as they marched down the cobbled square and around to the stage entrance of the opera house. Herr Director greeted them enthusiastically. "Good morning. You are Hans Haupt?" "Yes, sir." "And your stallion? I forget how he is called. I think of him only as the Great Cobeteur." Hans thrilled to the words, "Your stallion." "His name is Borina, sir." "On the program, we will print his full name. You will carefully spell it out for me." The director produced a notebook from his pocket, and he licked the point of his pencil, waiting. Maestoso. M-A-E-S-T-O-S-O. Maestoso. Borina. B-O-R-I-N-A. Borina. In a flourishing hand, the director wrote down the name. "Now then, listen sharply. Borina plays in one scene only, but it is the grand climax of the whole opera." Hans's eyes opened in astonishment. The grand climax? The Herr Director nodded and resumed. "Riding Borina, Madame Giritza enters the forest scene just in time to save Ramirez from being strung up a tree." Sir, who is Ramirez?" "He is chief of the outlaws, and he is in love with Giritza. As his dying request, he pleads to the hangman, 'Let my pure sweetheart never hear of my shameful death. Let her believe I have fled to freedom.'" "But does she save him, sir?" "Of course, thanks to Borina getting her there in the nick of time. Remember, Hans, when Ramirez sings his last sustained note, that is Borina's cue. I must warn you," he added with a waggle of his finger, "that the tenor Ramirez is very temperamental. You must not cut off his song before he is through. Now, we will rehearse," and he led the way to the great stage. After only a few rehearsals, Borina knew his cue as well as any two-legged actor. Herr Director reported the news to Colonel Pojhaski. "Why wouldn't Borina perform?" "Well," was the colonel's retort, "he has a fine ear for music. Has he not been dancing to the waltzes of Johann Strauss and the minuets of Mozart and Beethoven for years?" At each rehearsal, the routine was the same. Well in advance of Borina's cue, Hans saddled him and gave Madame Giritza a leg up. There she waited, refusing Hans's offer to hold on to the bridle. At the exact moment when Ramirez concluded his plea, Borina bore her on stage. Watching from the wings, Hans was in a delirium of pride and joy. Both he and Borina fell in love with the opera and with their new friends. Sopranos and basses, violinists and hornblowers, electricians and stagehands chatted with them and often brought treats to Borina. But always they consulted with Hans first. Hans, can Borina eat an apple from my lunch?" "Hans, would licorice upset his stomach?" "Would he eat a slice of torte, Hans?" Even the Herr Director, when he brought tiny peppermints from home, would ask, "Has Borina had too many sweets today?" And only with permission would he offer the treat. Hans was flattered to be looked upon as a veterinarian. He was responsible for Borina's health and safety, and everyone knew it. Thus the first week of rehearsal went by in a routine of happiness. Hans walked his charge to and from the opera building each day, and he did a few stable duties at the riding school. Often he found himself humming tunes from the opera as he worked, but he carefully avoided Borina's cue song, of course. He knew he had never been so happy before. In the second week, Hans felt a pinprick of uneasiness. He noted that Borina waited for his cue in such eagerness that when he went on, his flanks were slick with sweat. It was almost as if he were afraid Ramirez might be hanged before he could get there. The nearer it came to opening night, the more eager he became, and each time he made his entrance a fraction of a second earlier, so that Ramirez had to cut off his final note while he still had plenty of breath. This made the man furious. He swore loud oaths in Italian, and he even stopped bringing nuggets to Borina. At the dress rehearsal, things took a catastrophic turn. Borina, charged on stage 2 full measures ahead of time. Ramirez grew livid, and the whole cast froze. A deathly silence closed around them. It was as if lightning had struck, and everyone waited breathless for the thunder. It came in a crash. Air director banged his fists on the piano and made a hideous jangle of sound. They don't sound happy, do they? Into the sudden quiet that followed came the hail of rage. Hans hopped! Come out here! Like one hypnotized, Hans moved ever so slowly until he stood downstage. Me? The small voice asked. Now the barrage let loose. What kind of a groom are you? You are no nothing. The director clenched his fist and rubbed it where it hit the piano. Tonight we open. The house is sold out. Do something! Yes, sir, a smaller voice said. Hans quailed. A cold perspiration broke out all over his body. He was trying desperately to think, grabbing at straws of ideas. He whispered to Madame Giritza, who was sitting rigid on Barina as if she were glued there. Should I run back to the riding school for a lunge line so I can hold Barina from the wings? She shook her head vigorously. The white strap would show. Hans was growing frantic. His whole future hung in the balance. Never again would he be trusted. Suddenly his eyes fixed on a strip of green carpet in the wings. It was used to deaden the sound of Barina's hoofs backstage. Forgetting he was a stable boy, Hans yelled to a prop man who was perched on a ladder, hanging leaves on the trees. Can I have this piece of carpet? Sure, I got more. His heart pounding, Hans quickly rolled the carpet. This will stop Barina, sir, he explained. I'll lay it in his path, all rolled up like this. Then tonight, I won't pull it aside until the very end of Ramirez's song. Air director spoke through tight lips. See, you don't. His tone was icy cold. Colonel Pajowski will be here tonight, and if you ruin my opera, he will be sorry he ever laid eyes on you.